Hey there, I'm Chef Chris Brown, and tonight we're making blackened scallops. I know it's intimidating making scallops at home, but stick around, we're gonna walk you through it. So we're gonna start with small red potatoes, and then we are gonna cut those in quarters. So we cut them in half, and then we cut them into quarters, and then we're gonna top that with some fresh rosemary. All you do with rosemary is you take it, hold it at the top, and pull it right down the stem, and all of your leaves will come off, and that's what you chop. The stem is a little bit bitter, so you might want to just stick with the leaves. And we just give this a quick rough chop. We're not looking to mince it down. We're just going to add, it's very fragrant. If you had smell-o-vision, you would know that. So we've got 2 sprigs of rosemary, and we've added that to 2 pounds of the baby red potatoes. And then we are going to add about 2 teaspoons of salt. Same for the pepper. A little bit of fresh minced garlic in here. And toss them in some olive oil and get those into the oven. These will take about 20 minutes, 25 minutes at 400 degrees. So we'll mix those around, get those on your sheet pan. They're nice and seasoned, and these will brown up nicely in the oven. The oven is set at 400 degrees, and then we are gonna prep our asparagus. We are gonna roast these in the oven as well. We're going to top this with olive oil, salt, pepper, and garlic. So we've got olive oil. You want a nice coating on your asparagus. Not super heavy, but you want a nice coating on there. And then you're going to add salt, pepper, and toss in a little bit of garlic. And just kind of run that around so the asparagus gets coated. And it's maybe a half a teaspoon of garlic. If you get too heavy on the garlic, if the garlic burns in the oven, it'll get extremely bitter. So it doesn't take a lot of garlic. We're gonna roast these flat because we're gonna do a little trick. So if you have a family of 4 and you bought 1 bunch of asparagus, what you're going to do is go ahead and separate the bunches before it goes into the oven. So everybody's portion is already separated out, and then you will have it all ready to go and take your fresh grated Parmesan cheese and put that on each one. And then save a little bit behind for the garnish at the end. Now you have set yourself up for success just by doing that. You can just scoop it with a spatula and put it right on the plate. So let's get our skillet, our cast iron skillet hot. We have scallops and we are using Merman's Revenge blackened seasoning. We're going to season both sides of the scallops, and it's probably a tablespoon on each side. Don't be shy. You only have one opportunity to season them. Scallops will usually come frozen, and they may or may not have any juice in the bag, so always thaw them in a bowl so that in case there's any juice in the bag, you don't have it in the bottom of your refrigerator. That's the So anytime you're making fresh scallops, you always want to make sure that they're completely thawed, they're well seasoned, and ready to go into the skillet before you get going. And you want that little sizzle. And these are going to cook about 2.5 to 3 minutes per side. That's how long they're going to cook. We're just going to set them in the skillet and then go ahead and put about 2 tablespoons of butter, and that will roll its way around the pan, and that'll help get you a nice little crust on your scallop. If you're using a cast iron skillet, get your skillet good and hot, and then cook your scallops right about medium to medium high. You want it hot enough to sizzle the butter so that it browns on both sides of the scallop. Non-stick pan, you're not going to get that quite that browning, but you will get a cooked through scallop. And so all you have to do is add a little bit more seasoning and a little bit less butter. So it would be less on the liquid and more on the seasoning in order to get that browning on both sides. When you first put your scallops in the pan, go ahead and put your pat of butter in there. It's usually about 2 tablespoons. It'll work its way around naturally in the pan because the pan's heating up. You do not have to touch your scallops. You want that little bit of crust on each side, so just leave it there. So we have about 3 minutes more in the skillet. We have about 3 to 5 minutes more in the oven for the asparagus and the potatoes. And then everything will kind of come together right at the end. Everything will finish up right about the same amount of time. So all I'm doing is flipping them over. I'm going to move a couple of them from the front to the back so that we get the same consistency of browning. And then that's really about it. Now you've got about 3.5 minutes to go. We're going to do a quick check on our asparagus and our potatoes, and they're coming together nicely. So your potatoes, we're just going to move those around a little bit. The asparagus is looking good. So right about that, perfect. Then we have Parmesan will go on at the end. Scallops are almost there. This is going to be a great meal. And it's a quick meal, easy meal for the house. You can come in, you can pre-blanch your potatoes the night before. You've got a preheated oven at 400 degrees. You've got scallops ready to go. So we're going to shut the heat off on this. We're going to grab our potatoes and our asparagus. So the potatoes have come out. They're nice and soft. They smell great. We want just a little bit more color on them. So we've changed the oven to broil. We're gonna stick them back in the oven while we're starting to plate. In about 3 minutes, we'll have nice golden brown potatoes. So one easy way to tell if the scallops are completely cooked, you can look at it right here while it's cooking, and you will see it go from a cloudy color right into a solid white. And that's how you'll know. You won't have to cut into them to double check. Ah, that's much better. There we are. And now we're gonna build our plates. And we were quite sneaky and set up our asparagus. And we did that first. Our portions are all separated. And now we've got our potatoes. And we will add our portion of potatoes right beside it. And then we can bring our scallops over. Look at that. Those are beautiful. And there is your portion. So you have 4 nice scallops. You have a beautiful plate of asparagus with rosemary roasted potatoes. And then all you're gonna do is right at the very end, send that out with some fresh parsley and Parmesan. Here's our finished blackened scallop with the roasted potatoes and the asparagus. We're gonna top it with just a tiny bit of fresh lemon juice. And then we're gonna taste it and see how we did. Look at that, it's beautiful. Cooked all the way through, 3 minutes on each side. Perfect, perfect. Enjoy.